السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. I want to welcome everyone back to At Learning Arabic with Uthman, our YouTube channel. Those that have completed the first lesson, الدرس الأول, where we learn about هذا. Any questions you may have or comments, please put it in the comments, and I will be sure to answer any questions or anything you need explained from the previous lesson. Let's begin الدرس الثاني, lesson 2. ذلك. Notice ذلك, you hear the alif sound. ذلك. The alif is omitted when we write the word, but it's pronounced. So ذلك, we don't say ذلك, we say ذلك. Okay, that's the first thing. Just as we learned in lesson 1 for هذا. هذا, the alif is omitted, and it's written هذا. I'm using my mouse here, so bear with me as I try to perfect my writing. Okay, let's begin. ما ذلك? What is that? ذلك نجم. That is a star. هذا مسجد. وذلك بيت. This is a masjid, and that is a house. New word we learn here is wa. Wa means and. Wa. هذا مسجد. Let's speak about هذا and let's speak about ذلك. هذا in Arabic we know means this, and we call it اسم الإشارة. It's a noun that points, so a pointer noun. للقريب, for things that are close. So we say this is هذا بيت, هذا مسجد, هذا إمام. We are speaking about this is for things that are close. ذلك means that. It's called اسم الإشارة للبعيد. It's a noun, a pointing noun for things that are far. So when we speak about two things, we want to use هذا for something that is closer to us, and we want to use ذلك for something that is furthest away from us. So example here, as we see, the masjid is closer and the house is farther away. So we use هذا for masjid and we use ذلك for bait. And the last thing I want to point out is the wa. The wa and. Make sure you write it next to the word that it precedes. So you notice, if you notice here, let's change the color so it's a little clearer. Let's make a red. We'll try red here. Okay, if you notice this space here between hada and masjid, and then there's another equal space, and there's a space between ذلك and bait. Most students, when they learn the Arabic language, they don't know where the word begins, where the word ends, if this is part of the word, the same word, etc. So this space lets you know that this is a new word. Hada, there's a space. Masjidun, there's an equal space. Wow, you do not put near this space. The wow goes next to the word it precedes. Notice the space is longer here than here. So the wow, again, it goes next to the word it precedes, closer. So وَذَلِكَ, and that is. Okay, you'll notice that as we continue, you'll notice the wow is going to be closer to the word it precedes. Let's go back here. You bear with me. All right. هَذَا حِصَانٌ. This is a horse. وَذَلِكَ حِمَارٌ. And that is a donkey. Again, notice هَذَا حِصَانٌ. You see the space? You see the space? The wa, ذَلِكَ is closer to ذَلِكَ. It goes with the word it precedes. وَذَلِكَ. And that is a donkey. Let's continue. أَذَلِكَ كَلْبٌ. Is that a dog? لا. No. ذَلِكَ قِطٌ. That is a cat. ما ذلك, pointing. ذلك سرير. That is a bed. Let's continue. من هذا ومن ذلك. Who is this and who is that? هذا مدرس. This is a teacher. مدرس, teacher. وذلك إمام. And that is an imam. Imam is the one that leads the prayer. Mudarris is teacher, one that teaches dars, durus, dars, lessons. Mudarrisun, a teacher. ما ذلك? ذلك حجر. That is a rock. هذا سكر. Notice what's closer. سكر, this is sugar. وذلك لبن, and that is milk. That's why we use هذا. اسم الإشارة للقريب. We use this pointer noun for things that are close, and ذلك for things that are far. Let's continue. تمرين. اقرأ واكتب. We're going to do the exercise together. هذا سكر وذلك لبن. This is sugar and that is milk. من ذلك? ذلك إمام. Who is that? That is an imam. أذلك قط? Is that a cat? لا. ذلك كلب. No, that is a dog. ما هذا? What is this? هذا حجر. This is a rock. الكلمات الجديدة. So الكلمات is words جديدة, new. So the new words you're going to learn. Every lesson you're going to see الكلمات الجديدة. And it's important that you memorize at least 80%, if not 100%. But let's try to memorize all the words. إمام, حجر, سكر, لبن. Here's the picture of each. And we cover the points to remember in the lesson. We spoke about ذلك, meaning that, and the wa, meaning and. We spoke about the pronunciation of ذلك, even though it's written just like here, it's pronounced ذلك. It's written without the alif. And the next is the word wa, is written close to the following word, which we covered that, and I showed you guys the space between each word. And that concludes الدرس الثاني. We're going to start الدرس الثالث, lesson 3. Any questions, please leave them down in the comments, and I will surely answer them, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.